From the very beginning of our story, you devoted yourself wholeheartedly to this partnership. You offered your time, attention, and affection freely, weaving them into the fabric of the relationship like threads of gold. Every morning, you greeted the day hoping for connection. Every evening, you poured your heart into conversations, gestures, and small acts of kindness. Yet over time it became painfully clear that your efforts were not met with the same level of care. While you showed up consistently, offering patience when they seemed distant, understanding when they grew quiet, affection when they drew away, their participation remained sporadic if not altogether absent. They were often emotionally unreachable, your heartfelt messages lingered unanswered, your attempts to invite them into your world were met with indifference, and your invitations to share quality time were declined more often than not. Whether through neglect, distracted behavior, or simple oversight, their actions did not match the warmth you radiated. Day after day, this discrepancy weighed on you like a heavy stone. You found yourself wondering what you hadn't done, what you had failed to understand, or whether your love simply wasn't enough. The moment you recognized this imbalance as unsustainable came quietly but decisively. It wasn't marked by a grand confrontation or a dramatic storm of emotion. Instead, it came in the hush of a late-night reflection when you realized that you were the only one ever making the journey across this emotional bridge. It was then, with a calm clarity that surprised you, that you chose to protect your heart. You decided to withdraw, not out of spite or anger, but as an essential act of self-preservation. Shutting off the wellspring of your feelings was far from easy. For someone who has always believed in the power of vulnerability, closing off felt like turning away the light. But you understood that it was necessary. To love yourself meant recognizing that your worth could not be measured by someone else's willingness to reciprocate. With that realization, you resolved to create distance, to place firm boundaries around your heart, and to demand the respect you had long deserved. In stepping back, you did not simply retreat, you embarked on a journey of self-discovery. You began to redirect the love you once poured outward back toward yourself. As you invested more in self-care, carving out time for meditation, journaling your thoughts, exploring creative outlets, nurturing friendships, you felt a shift take place. The same energy that had once been absorbed by someone else's indifference now returned to you, fueling a sense of balance and inner peace. This newfound equilibrium rippled through every corner of your life. Your mornings became rituals of gratitude, breathing in the dawn with intention, while your evenings turned into reflective pauses, honoring the lessons of each day. Your physical health improved as you committed to nourishing foods and gentle movement. Your mental clarity sharpened as you embraced practices that quieted the mind. Emotionally, you felt stronger than ever before, resilient, composed, and confident in the knowledge that your happiness came from within. Your transformation radiated outward, creating an aura of stability and independence that was impossible to ignore. Friends remarked on your glow, family noticed your serenity. Even casual acquaintances sensed the change, as if you had emerged from a chrysalis shimmering with self-assured grace. And then, inevitably, your person noticed it too. They began to sense that something fundamental had shifted. The easy access they once had to your warmth and vulnerability was now guarded behind clear boundaries. In conversations, they found themselves measuring their words more carefully. In moments of silence, they felt the weight of their past missteps. No longer could they assume your unconditional availability. To reconnect, they would have to approach you with genuine accountability, humility, and a willingness to meet you on equal ground. As your energy changed, so did the dynamics between you. Where you had once been ready to excuse their triggers and minimize their lapses, you now stood firm. You refused to tolerate childish behavior or immature reactions. Your standards had risen, tempered by the self-respect you had reclaimed. They saw that if they wanted back into your life, apologies alone would not suffice. They would have to demonstrate their remorse through consistent, thoughtful actions. Slowly, your person began to confront the reality of their mistakes. They felt the sting of regret over every unanswered text, every cancelled plan, every moment they let you linger in doubt. They realized how their dismissiveness had hollowed the warmth of your love, leaving you feeling unseen and unimportant. And as they looked back on your generosity, the way you extended grace when they least deserved it, they felt both humbled and ashamed. This awakening stirred in them a profound desire for forgiveness, coupled with the recognition that words were hollow without corresponding deeds. They yearned for a fresh beginning built on honesty, responsibility, and mutual care. They envisioned a renewed connection free from old patterns of blame and misunderstanding, a partnership where both of you would contribute equally to its flourishing. For you, this shift in their outlook arrived at a time when you were standing in your own power. You understood that true reconciliation would demand patience, vigilance, and clear evidence that they had changed. You honored the commitments you had made to yourself, to guard your heart, to value your peace, and to accept only a love that reflected respect and reciprocity. Their wish to rebuild was welcome, but it had to align with the standards you had set for yourself. In this pivotal moment, you affirmed that the most important relationship you have is the one you share with yourself. By choosing to prioritize your well-being, you laid the groundwork for a life rich in authenticity and fulfillment, regardless of whether your person ultimately walks beside you. Yet even as you celebrated your growth, you could not disregard the depth of the bond you once shared. Memories of tenderness haunted you in quiet hours. Flashbacks of inside jokes, gentle embraces, and whispered dreams reminded you of the light they once shone into your life. You acknowledged that the love between you had been forged in adversity, tempered by trials, and deepened by each shared triumph. And so, you opened your heart once more, this time not as the person who would give without limit, but as someone who had learned the real meaning of love, a union of equals built on respect, honesty, and balanced devotion. You allowed yourself to accept their overtures of remorse, while reserving the right to withhold full trust until it was unmistakably earned. Their apology arrived with a humility you had never seen before. They spoke not only of regret but also of concrete steps they were taking, seeking therapy to address their emotional absences, setting aside dedicated time each week for open dialogue, and practicing mindfulness to become more present. They offered to share their progress honestly, to listen to your needs, and to collaborate on creating rituals that would strengthen your bond. As you listened, you appreciated their effort, but you also reminded yourself that healing is not a sprint but a marathon. You acknowledged that broken trust cannot be restored overnight. It requires consistent, compassionate action sustained over time. Still, you felt a stir of hope, recognizing that their transformation echoed your own journey. Reflecting on your path thus far, you realized how much you had grown, from someone who once defined their worth by another's validation to someone who now knew their own value without question. You had learned that love is not a contract of demands but a conscious choice to uplift, honor, and respect, even in the face of imperfection. In closing this chapter, you were filled with gratitude for your capacity to love fiercely, for the lessons learned through pain, and for the clarity you gained through self-examination. Whether your story with this person continued or diverged into separate directions, you remained committed to the promises you made to yourself, to uphold your boundaries, to honor your inner light, and to welcome only that which nourished your soul. Ultimately, you affirmed, the future would unfold as it must. But armed with the wisdom of your experiences, both joyful and painful, you were prepared to embrace whatever came next. With a heart fortified by self-love and a spirit unburdened by past compromises, you stepped boldly into the next chapter of your life, ready to love, to heal, and to thrive.